Good morning everybody and welcome to our EB's big USA map American Truck Simulator. I need to make one change, don't I? Yeah, we need to get rid of that. There we go. There we go, just like that, because we're not driving the International anymore. We're driving a Peterbilt 389 courtesy of SCS. And for very good reason. I found all my old ZEEMODS engine sounds that I purchased, and that is literally what we're running with. Wow, another huge tank on the freaking back. We're going to San Antonio in Texas. I'm guessing from Albuquerque, maybe. No, Bakersfield, I beg your pardon. I picked it up in Bakersfield. It's worth 85 grand, so it's going to be a good run for us down to San Antonio there. And it's the arse end of San Antonio as well. Standard SCS 389. With a few of EB's additions, of course. Beautiful looking truck. Handles beautiful. And full of immersion, as much immersion as you could possibly want. So let's get on our merry way and I'll shut the feck up. Enjoy.
This programming is sponsored by Foster LLP, celebrating 50 years helping employers of all sizes meet their critical workforce needs. More at fosterglobal.com, U.S. and global immigration services.
ER News.
Starts today at 4, latest local news. The Guild of Law and your host, David Pittman. Before that, Town Square with Ernie Manous at 3.
On this week's Wait, I asked Mariska Hargitay, Captain Olivia Benson on Law & Order SVU, if her role carries over into her real life.
Are you a good detective? Are you, good at finding your husband's lost phone, for example?
Well, I found his first 2 mistresses.
Ooh. I'm Peter Sagal. You can find us just by staying tuned to this station. Catch us for this week's news quiz from NPR.
Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. here on News 88.7. 50-50 shot of rain today. Seeing some light stuff to the south of us, but not a lot. 92 for the high. Tonight's low 78, 40% chance of rain. Tomorrow, we're at 79 right now. Local news up after NPR News. It's 5:30.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Dave Mattingly. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is in Beijing on day 2 of her trip to China. She met with the country's premier today after addressing the American Chamber of Commerce in China.
During meetings with my counterparts, I'm communicating the concerns that I've heard from the U.S. business community, including China's use of non-market tools like expanded subsidies for its state-owned enterprises and domestic firms.
Yellen told the gathering the U.S. and its allies will continue to push back on what she called China's unfair economic practices. The Food and Drug Administration has given full approval to a drug that's shown to slow the progression of Alzheimer's for those in the early stages of the disease. Here's NPR's John Hamilton.
It is called Leqembi. Its generic name is lecanemab. It's administered by an intravenous infusion every other week. And when you give it to people in the early stages of Alzheimer's, it appears to slow down the loss of memory and thinking by about 27%. That all sounds pretty good, but this effect is really pretty modest. And the question a lot of doctors have right now is whether this drug will really make a difference to most patients and their families.
The drug costs more than $26,000 a year. It will be broadly covered by Medicare. This is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Jack Williams. A Houston mother who lost her son in a 2018 San Marcos apartment fire says she's focused on preventing future tragedies. David Ortiz attended Pasadena Memorial High School as 21 when he died. Gina Ortiz established a foundation in his memory to give scholarships and smoke detectors to students going to Texas State. She says teaching fire safety is important for students who are leaving home for the first time.
Above all else, we want to raise awareness about fire safety because we feel like it's something that it's not fully addressed as kids go to the school, and teachers have so much on their plate, and it's not in the curriculum. Ortiz was in San Marcos yesterday where police announced they'd arrested a 30-year-old Austin man for starting the fire. 5 people died, several others were injured in the blaze. A $450 million expansion at Hobby Airport will add 7 more gates. News 88.7's Patricia Ortiz reports 6 of those gates will be operated by Southwest Airlines.
The expansion will be funded by the Houston Airport Systems Construction and Improvement Funds. Jim Shashnak with Houston Airport says the city is already a primary gateway to the South Central region of the United States and to Latin America. However, he says the expansion will continue to strengthen Houston's global reach. The expansion also addresses passenger needs for additional baggage claim carousels and upgrades to the baggage handling system, restrooms, and various other projects to support increased capacity. As of 2019, the Houston Airport has an economic impact of $36.4 billion and is responsible for around 190,000 jobs. I'm Patricia Ortiz, News 88.7.
Around 2,000 of Houston ISD's 27,000 employees were not paid on time this week. UHISD Superintendent Mike Miles addressed the reported glitch on Thursday, saying as of now, most of the employees have been paid. Miles says 3 senior-level district employees were out on the day of the issue, which contributed to that problem.
Combination of human error and technology errors. We'll get it right at the end of the day. We're looking into that right now, so it doesn't happen again.
Miles says the district will run a payroll simulation before the next payday to ensure the system is working properly. In sports, bad night for the Astros. They fall to the Mariners 5-1. I'm Jack Williams, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from your part-time controller, specializing in nonprofit accounting. Your part-time controller helps nonprofit organizations with their accounting needs, remotely or in person. More at yourparttimecontroller.com. And from Procter & Gamble, maker of Metamucil, a fiber supplement containing psyllium, a plant-based fiber for trapping and removing waste in the digestive system, designed to be taken every day. More at metamucil.com.
It's Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Rob Schmitz.
And I'm Michelle Martin. Good morning. The Biden administration is expected to announce today that it will send a new weapon to Ukraine, cluster bombs.
These cluster munitions have been around for decades, and they've been effective in combat, but they're also controversial. Many nations have pledged not to use them.
We were wondering why this is happening now, so we're joined by NPR National Security Correspondent Greg Myrie in Ukraine's capital of Kyiv. Greg, thanks so much for being here.
Sure thing, Michelle.
So could you just give us a short explanation of what cluster munitions are and why they're so controversial?
So a cluster bomb can be dropped from a plane, though the Ukrainians would likely be firing them from the ground in an artillery shell. And while the cluster bomb is in the air, it breaks open and releases dozens or even hundreds of little bomblets. And this can be very effective when used against troops spread out over a big area because there's not just one explosion. All these little bomblets are intended to explode over a vast space the size of a city block or so. However, some bomblets are duds. They don't detonate. They're small, they remain on the ground, they can become embedded just below the surface. So years later, after a war is over, civilians can walk through these areas and step on the bomblets, causing them to explode and inflicting injury or death. For this reason, human rights groups say they shouldn't be used, really for the same reason they oppose landmines.
But have they already been used in this war?
Yes, they have. Russia has used them extensively in Ukraine to a lesser degree, according to research by Human Rights Watch. And more than 120 countries, including most NATO members, pledged not to use them under a 2008 convention. But Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. are not part of that agreement. The U.S. has used them in the past. I remember them as far back as the first U.S. war in Iraq in 1991. It just looked like a really bad golfer had left dozens of big divots all over the course, and that instantly grabbed your attention because when you saw this, you knew some unexploded bomblets were lurking nearby.
So why is this so important to Ukraine, and why now?
Yeah, the main reason this seems to be happening now is Ukraine is pressing this major offensive, and it's running low on artillery shells. Ukraine is trying to break through Russian lines in the east and the south, where the Russian troops are deeply entrenched, and the cluster munitions could be a very valuable weapon because you can hit a larger patch of territory with just one of these weapons compared to a conventional artillery shell. The U.S. has a large supply of them on the shelf, so it can presumably give them to Ukraine pretty quickly. And U.S. officials have told NPR that the dud rate has come down substantially. Mine clearing groups used to talk about rates of 20% or more. The U.S. says it'll only be sending those with a dud rate of around 2% or less. Some critics, though, do question the Pentagon's claim that the rate is really this low.
Greg, before we let you go, can you give us a quick update on the status of Ukraine's offensive?
Yeah, the Ukrainian military gave a very specific answer this week. Said Ukraine had retaken 9 villages and 62 square miles since the offensive began a month ago. Now, these figures have very little changed over the last week or two, and it's much slower and more limited than many expected.
That is NPR's Greg Myrie in Kyiv. Greg, thank you.
Sure thing, Michelle.
United Parcel Service workers are threatening to go on strike. Contract negotiations between their union and UPS management broke down this week. They're running out of time to reach an agreement. The deadline is at the end of the month. The Teamsters Union represents 340,000 UPS workers. That's over half of the company's workforce. Here to talk to us about what's at stake in these negotiations is Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. What do UPS workers want?
Well, UPS workers want to be rewarded for their hard, especially in light of UPS making record profits during the pandemic. Our members went out there and sacrificed their well-being to provide goods and services, and UPS made record profits, paid out record dividends, and now it's time for them to pay the people that actually make them a success, and that's our 340,000 Teamster members.
So NPR reached out to UPS for comment. In a statement, the company said, quote, "We are proud of what we've put forward in these negotiations, and the Teamsters should return to the table to finalize this deal." So UPS management saying here the union has walked away. What has been the main sticking point between the union and UPS leadership?
Well, first off, the union did not walk away at 4:15 a.m. on July 5th. The company went into the part-time wage rates for starting wage rates and also existing part-timers. We made it clear that part-time poverty doesn't work, especially at UPS, and people don't realize this. The drivers you see in your neighborhood, the men and women that are delivering packages, UPS is saying they make $93,000, and they may, but they're working 10, 15 hours or overtime, no quality of life, missing Little League games, and etc. But what they don't tell you is that there's unsung heroes in those facilities, part-timers that, these trucks do not deliver packages unless they're loaded, and these part-timers are working at poverty wages. They need to drive the starting wage rate up, reward the people that have been there a long time, and provide full-time opportunity for these folks. And, when we got into the negotiations over the part-timers, UPS simply said, there's no more to give, and said, we're not going to go any further, and that was it. So, their story is compelling but highly inaccurate.
Got it. So if UPS workers do go on strike, this could lead to the biggest private sector strike since the 1950s. What would this
Morning,
mean
Robbie.
for
How you
customers,
diddly
and
doing?
what would it mean for the
Nice
economy?
to see you, dude.
Well, it's unfortunate that if UPS chooses to strike themselves and not concede to our demands, that they could be putting their business customers at risk. And, like people say to us all the time, well, isn't that going to impact your members? It will, but, like anything else, there's a little short-term pain for a long-term gain. And, UPS has to, reward the people that have made them a success. And if there is a labor
That's good to
dispute
hear,
or strike,
Robbie. Good to hear.
It's going to be on
test.
Well, this is the final fruits of all my labour, my hard work.
But are you worried that,
and I'm lost in it, Robbie, to be honest with you.
UPS competitors
I
would
just,
take advantage of this strike
every time
and
I'm
then
in front of the
taking
PC, all I want
market
to
share
do
out of UPS's business.
is fire this bad boy up.
The one good
It's
thing
just
in the short
fantastic.
term, I think,
It's on the
there
little
could be
cost of
some-
living crisis
some
PC
competition, getting some
with the
volume.
GDX
At the end of the day,
1050
it's
Ti.
40,000 Teamsters provide the
Absolutely
best service in
tweaked to the
industry,
nines to
and
get the
customers will come back
performance
just like they did in
that I really did
1997.
want out of it.
When UPS chose back then to similar situations.
It's also modded to the back
fighting for
teeth,
part-timers, but
and
this
it
is
seems to be
team effort.
working
There's still some full-time issues
like
out
an
there,
absolute
that we
dream.
need to address. And look, we're prepared
I want to say dream. I mean dream.
Get back to the table, but UPS needs to know that
Where am
the
I
last
going?
offer wasn't adequate. They know what they need to do to get us back.
Nice,
to the
nice job,
Thanks,
Eves.
Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien. Sean, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
.542, it's News 88.7. Good morning. Gulf Freeway headed out at the loop. Reports of the way.
2 seconds, Robbie, and I'll be right back. Got to disappear for a minute.
If you are a monthly Always member and need to update your donation payment method, you can go online to houstonpublicmedia.org/.
Won't be a sec, Robbie.
Our easy online form will ensure that your information remains secure. Also, consider making the switch to EFT. You will help lower our processing cost, which puts more funding into the programming you love, trust,
Be right
and
back.
rely on. Thank you.
Maybe climate change isn't all bad. There are fewer mosquitoes around. I'm Craig Cohen. This week's non-expert panel weighs in on that and renovation of the Galleria ice rink on the good, the bad, and the ugly on the next Houston Matters.
Check it out at 9 this morning. Support comes from the University of Houston Facilities Construction Management Department, helping build futures with positions including mechanical engineer, now available. More at uh.edu/facilities. 543.
Good morning, I'm Rob Hugh Jones at the BBC. This hour, the American Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has begun high-level meetings in Beijing by restating her view that decoupling the US and Chinese economies would be a disaster for both. The BBC's Asia correspondent, Rupert Wingfield-Hayes, says warm words are unlikely to overcome deep suspicions.
The Biden administration is moving forward with limits on the export of cutting-edge microchips to China. Beijing is retaliating, restricting the export of rare metals used in solar panels and electric cars. As Ms. Yellen landed in Beijing, President Xi Jinping told senior military officers in the east of the country they must prepare for war. Little wonder expectations for what can come from this trip are being kept low.
Elsewhere, Brazil says the rate of deforestation in its Amazon region has fallen by a third during the first 6 months of President Lula's term in office. Destruction of the rainforest accelerated dramatically under his predecessor, Jair Bolsonaro. And the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has appealed for more action to tackle urgent security needs in the Caribbean nation of Haiti.
The world must act now to stem the violence and instability.
Mr. Guterres, who visited Haiti last week, wants a multinational force deployed there to help Haiti's police tackle surging gang violence. At the BBC, I'm Rob Hugh Jones in London.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from Melville Charitable Trust, committed to ensuring all people have a safe, stable, and affordable home that allows them to thrive. Information about ways to prevent and solve homelessness is at melvilletrust.org. From the Lemelson Foundation, dedicated to inspiring and enabling the next generation of inventors to improve lives around the world. More information is available at lemelson.org. And from the Doris Duke Foundation.
This is the Engines of Our Ingenuity from Houston Public Media, News 88.7.
Today, we visit Heligoland. The University of Houston's College of Engineering presents this series about the machines that make our civilization run and the people whose ingenuity created them. Germany has 2 stretches of coastline. The larger one lies below Denmark and Sweden on the Baltic Sea. The other is the L-shaped Frisian coast. It stretches along the North Sea from Holland to Denmark. Nestled in that L, 30 miles from the coast, is the tiny archipelago of Heligoland. Heligoland is made up of only 2 islands. The larger is 4/10 of a square mile, the smaller only a quarter square mile. The name comes from the old word Heiligeland, or Holy Land, since it was once associated with a pagan god. Various neighboring countries owned it until Great Britain finally ceded it to Germany in 1890. It had by then been serving as a seaside resort for almost a century. Heligoland is little known in America today, but I heard a lot about it in the near wake of World War I and during World War II. Germany made it into a naval base, and an early World War I naval battle took place around it. The British beat the Germans badly and limited German naval action for the rest of that war. Heligoland again became a resort after the war, and in June 1925, young Werner Heisenberg, driven to distraction by hay fever, retreated there to focus on the puzzling implications of the new quantum physics. There in that sun-washed, sea-lapped land of red rock, white sand, and green fields, he found his eureka moment. He set the understanding of known quantum behavior, and the next few years formed the great sea change of modern physics. Then the Nazis came. Heligoland again became a military base. Late in the war, Allied planes poured countless tons of explosives upon it. The civilian population first lived underground, then was finally evacuated. Soon after the war, the British set off the largest non-nuclear man-made explosion there, 7 kilotons, about half the size of the Hiroshima bomb. It was meant to permanently remove German fortifications. Well, it did that, and it created a permanent dent across the middle of the larger island. Now Heligoland is once more a resort. People walk the sands and admire basking seals and sea lions, gannets and gulls. Cruise ships move past the great red rock cliffs that overlook the sea. Matthew Arnold once wrote about a place like this across the North Sea on the English shore. He began, "The tide is full, the moon lies fair." But then he segued into another theme. He recalled how it had been and would be again, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. And, looking at Heligoland, we think of Heisenberg shaping a majestic science there, then, later, almost managing to build a German atom bomb upon those very ideas. History's tides do indeed wash back and forth over those tiny islands in the North Sea. I'm John Lienhard at the University of Houston, where we're interested in the way inventive minds work.
A transcript of this Engines of Our Ingenuity episode number 2699 is online at uh.edu/engines. Additional episodes are available by podcast.
It's Morning Edition on News 88.7. Good morning. Reports of a new wreck. Gold Freeway headed out at the South Loop. Not seeing anything yet on the camera. Let's see if they'll move it here in a little bit. Just ahead, Wall Street Journal reporter has been detained in Russia for 100 days. But there are new reports that prisoner swap may be under construction.
Frankly, it's very difficult to know what's going to happen. It's all, at this stage, speculation. We're dealing with Russia here. It could pan out any which way.
I'm Eddie Robinson, and on this week's ICU, Elegance Bratton, the writer-director behind the new film, The Inspection, a deeply personal drama that touches on themes of acceptance and self-esteem.
You know, the notion that I was important because I could protect others was really revolutionary to me.
The importance of being seen in storytelling on the next ICU.
It's tomorrow afternoon at 1, Sunday at 9 p.m. here on News 88.7.
Tonight on Houston Public Media, TV8. After an encore presentation of this week's Great American Recipe at 8, travel the California border of the U.S. and Mexico on La Frontera with Patty Hinich at 9. Tonight on TV8.
Houston Public Media introduces Community Catalyst. Learn about the needs in our community through credible data from Understanding Houston, and meet Houston area nonprofits making a difference at communitycatalyst.org. Some light showers on the radar to the south. Nothing big. There's some stuff farther to the southwest of us could come this direction. 50% chance of rain later this morning into the afternoon. 92 for the high. So enjoy the non-extra hot heat for a while. 78 for the low tonight. 40% chance of rain Saturday. 95 for the high. And here we go Sunday, Monday, getting back up into the upper 90s. 79 right now. Let's check your money. 551. News 88.7. Good morning.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is in China in an effort to put the Washington-Beijing relationship on a more even keel.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Charles Schwab. The people at Schwab are passionate about helping investors. Learn more at schwab.com/whyschwab.
I'm David Brancaccio. Today, Janet Yellen spoke at a roundtable of representatives from U.S. companies doing business in China, and she's meeting with Chinese leaders past and present. My colleague Kai Risdal is in China, traveling with the Treasury Secretary's press pool, and he joins me now from Beijing. Hey, Kai.
Hey, dude.
I thought the Biden administration was decoupling from China. The Treasury Secretary says, no, that's not what's happening.
Oh, yeah, no. If you ask Janet Yellen about decoupling, she will definitely give you a very dirty look. They are being very emphatic here, Yellen and her staff, that what is happening is America is looking out for its own national security interests and trying to improve its own internal economic situation, but definitely not decoupling.
So clearly, Secretary Yellen is trying to highlight areas of common ground?
Yeah, I think, the Secretary Yellen is over here representing American interests, of course, but she does want to see, number one, tensions come down, right? Things are not great between the United States and China right now, and when you've got the two biggest economies in the world not really getting on, that's not really a good thing. She is being very calm, I guess, is a word you would use, and Janet Yellen is a calm woman. She's very steady, right? And she wants to make sure that everybody understands that America knows it's in our best interests to have a good relationship with China. She is trying to convince the Chinese of the same thing. And look, she is well liked over here. She is well respected because she is not a natural born politician and has not come up through the ranks that way, but rather as an economist and a very serious policy woman. She brings a gravitas that the Chinese appreciate.
One quote from Janet Yellen when she was speaking to executives from some big U.S.-based companies is getting some attention this morning. The Secretary said, I've been particularly troubled by punitive actions that have been taken against U.S. firms in recent months. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've obviously been following the news and the coverage of that quote. I was in the room when she read her prepared remarks, and I'll tell you, I think it's probably the difference between print and audio. That was a line buried inside a mid-range paragraph in a page-and-a-half statement. It was not delivered with any emphasis. It was not delivered at all in a special way. And I think what has happened is that people have taken that line and run with it.
But Yellen did hear other issues from U.S. executives. You were there for that.
Oh, yeah. And look, she has been hearing from American executives about some of the things that have happened, right? And Chinese employees of American companies have been arrested and detained. There are laws here. A new espionage law has been passed that is giving American executives some pause. And let's remember, she was speaking to the American Chamber of Commerce in Beijing, so she knew her audience. That said, this remark is, I don't believe, what Yellen would want to be highlighted because she really, really wants the American relationship to be steady. She wants it to be calmed a little bit, the American relationship with China, and at the same time knows that she has to look out for American companies.
Marketplace's Kai Risdal covering the U.S. Treasury Secretary in China. Kai, thank you.
Okay, Han, I'm back. Sorry about that, Robbie, if you're still there. Oh, hey up, Zeb. Hey up, Eagle. How you diddly doing? Yep, you were in the radio. I just kind of put that on while I buggered off. So, this has been an absolute labour of love. I'm so delighted with it. The quality that you're looking at. Yes, it's only 720p. 1080 is too much of this little card. But with this PC that we're running it on, it's absolutely blown me away. And as I say, all I want to do these days, and all I am doing, is just disappearing into it. Whenever I get a chance to get on the PC, I'm driving, and I just can't get enough of it. I've gone with the SCS truck. I was originally going to go with the International 9900i, but I just was not happy at the level of details that SCS have added to the truck. It's almost like they've created the truck and lobbed it in and that's it. Even the 389 is so lacking in you know, performance and tuning parts that you've got to go third party, unfortunately. But having the 389 from SCS is a good base to work with for everything else. This is my USA at War build, so we've got a lot of custom trailers installed as well as all the SCS ones to collect. We've got all the garages to buy. It is the full build, so it is coast to coast Canamania, and it is all SCS DLCs up to and including Texas. I will update the maps for 148 when they get updated, but the 147 versions are fine. We're currently on 147. I have forward tested it on the 148 betas and everything is really good. My truck is all set up purely for heavy haul. We've got some right trailer combos that we can enjoy. It's taken me an awful long while to get the balance of the game right for me personally, in terms of the level of traffic, the sort of environment I wanted to create. Just to let you know, Robbie, if you're still there, that Starlit Sky mod didn't work for me personally on 147, but I found another version of it that is specifically dedicated to Cassie's brutal graphics and weather, and it works beautiful in conjunction with that. So we've literally got the best of just about every world we could ever want. I've still got to tweak some of the settings a little bit. So at the minute I've got no rain on at all, it's just summertime. So I need to slowly introduce the rain, but again, to get these things just right takes me a long while, because you either get too much or not enough of a thing, and that is true for most of the elements in the game. So I wanted traffic, but I wanted to give the feel of something's happened. So kind of a lockdown, but not a lockdown. And the whole USA at War thing, you all know, I've already described what that's all about. So, you know, approved contractors are busy hauling military equipment all over the US for dispatch to NATO and to Ukraine. But of course we do have the option to do a lot of other cargoes. I've taken all XP and money mods out. I only had 2 of those in to start, just to bump us to get us going. So we're now purely on SCS economy, which is fabulous. But of course, with us having the whole of the US and Canada to drive in, we do get some good prices without money mods. This one's worth, I think it's 85 grand. Oh, look where you're going, big boy. 85,251. And also getting the balance right with the sleeping, that's been a revelation. That little sleep mod that extends your delivery time amazingly, and also cuts your sleeps down to 3 hours, which is perfect. And then the bed's fully reset. So all these little things coming together have really worked for me to make my personal ideal American truck simulator. So it's my own personal copy of the game. Now, you guys and girls, you'll all have different goals, different pleasures, different aims, and that's absolutely fine. Underneath every video and live stream is a full build of what I'm using. If I make changes, then I will make changes in the descriptions underneath the videos. I don't know if I can change the colour of the text under the videos, because that would be useful for changes. If not, I'll have to find another way of trying to make changes stand out, just so people know there have been changes from what was originally posted. All the settings that's used currently I'm using in this build. I don't know how we've done it on this little 1050 Ti, but we are at 400% zoom. I don't know how it looks on your screens because you're only watching it in 720, but on my gaming monitor it's so beautiful and so spider silky smooth, I can't believe it. So obviously all them tweaks and little changes we've made on the back end have been worth it. Also investing the time to check the mods out, not only individually but working as a unit together with each other, has obviously paid off as well. Hopefully Robbie and Bexy and Michael's Night Sky should start appearing soon, and this is going to be a through the night delivery. So this is actually a mod which I've got to add to the list thinking about it, which sits on top of Cass's brutal graphics and weather and adds the starlit sky, which is just amazing. So here we go, we're well into the night now and you should start to see it appear. Just go into here. Yeah, it's just starting to come through. There you go. You can see the starlit sky mod just starting to come through. There's the Borealis up there. And it will come through and it'll be gorgeous when it's done. And that works in conjunction with Cass's graphics and weather mod. All these things are free, so you don't have to pay for anything. The only other major change I've made to the build is I've got rid of Creechbum's sound pack, JC's engine pack, and I've replaced it with the ZEEMODS Cat 3406E sound mod because I'd bought it long ago. Found all my old purchase emails, clicked on the download links and they all still work, so I've re-downloaded the Cat 3406E series of engines from ZEEMODS, so I've added those in and that's what I'm running here, and I'm very happy with them. I have left JC's amateur sound effects in because I do love all the air pressure line effects etc that adds. Just bear with me a second while I read the chat. Where's EB? You're looking for a GPU just to support DirectX 12. Oh, right, okay. He had a phone. Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, I hear. I've been driving ATS for 4 years and been burnt out, lol. Hearing this, I want your mods, lol. I've been trying to play realistic. Yeah, same here, Eagle. Hey up, Nabby. It's lovely to see you. Got a comment and run busy. Wanting to know this looks lovely and the mod mix makes for good TV. Oh, bless you, Nabis. That's really kind. Thank you. Hope you and the family are safe and well. So this is kind of what happens when you really sort of immerse yourself into a game to try and get the absolute maximum pleasure out of it and make it your own personal copy of the world as well. There you can see now the starlit night sky is well and truly oh, that's a rest area. I wanted to stop there. We could be in the Michael Witt 4 hours to find another one. We do need to do a short sleep. We've got 110 hours left on the delivery, 21 hours to destination, so that was a big misplay by me, but hey ho. Hopefully I'll get better and better as the build and the profile settles in and beds in and we just drive the pants out of it. As I say, I'm absolutely loving it. I just can't get enough of it. So far, as you can see, I've done 2.96% map coverage. I have done quite a bit of driving, took quite a few runs and stuff, and it's been an absolute joy. I can't wait for the day that that's all pure yellow and there's no white in it. I don't know if that day will ever come, but I'll certainly do my best to make it so. I am going to delete all my other profiles, everyone, and just leave this one standing. I will take full separate hard drive backups of the profile as well, just in case. And I've also got a full copy of this profile set up on my secondary PC, so should anything happen to this we can switch to the AMD seamlessly. and carry on trucking. So we're in a great little spot, really. It's been a wonderful project to do. I have loved it. It has been a little bit frustrating, especially when you're deciding on what mods you're going to use, and how to put them together, what bits and pieces you want to work in what quantity, and how is this affecting, you know, your frame rates, your hardware and everything else. It is a bit of a minefield, a spider's web, because you can do something very simple like, do you know what, I fancy a purple coloured dashboard on my 389. So you stick a purple coloured dashboard mod in and it absolutely wrecks your frame rates, and you don't know why. And little things like that can be, although it sounds simplistic, can be quite difficult to get your head around what you've done and, you know, why this has happened and how you're going to correct it. Not easy. As I say, I think the overriding thing for me in doing all of this is just how unloved American Truck Sim is versus Euro Truck when it comes to aftermarket stuff. You know, the thing with American Truck is you've really got to get the credit card out and spend some dollar if you want this custom truck, this custom sound. Hopefully my builds will go some way to alleviating that stress for you. Both JC's Amateur Engine Sound Pack and Creech Bum Sound Pack 4.2 are both great free sound packs, so there really is no need to get the credit card out. I know it's very tempting, done it myself, to, you know, whack this mod truck in, whack that mod truck, but again, that can not only wreck your frame rates, but it can really cause you issues with other mods, especially trailer packs, skins, etc. Yeah, not easy, really not easy. So I've absolutely loved it, so hopefully now I'm in a place where I can kick back, and all I've got to do is enjoy the pants out of my own personal copy of American Truck Simulator, which I still believe is the better of the two games. Now I am also working, now this is finished, I'm going to start and have a look at my ETS 2 build and try and get somewhere close to this on ETS 2. But as I say, when you think we're using a little 4GB GDX 1050 Ti on a SATA SSD with a quad-core CPU, and this is some going, people. Alright, we're only in 720p, I accept that, we're not up at 1080p, but then again I don't believe the 1050 Ti was ever a play slash video slash stream 1080p card. It's probably just a little bit lighter the 1080p arena, but I'm quite happy in 720. The majority of my viewers watch it in 720 anyway, so we're not in a bad place. We're not in a bad place at all. I really do need to find somewhere to sleep pretty shortly. Oh, I say, what's this up ahead? Do we see a blue bed up here? I reckon we can have a cheeky nap up here. Yeah, we can, right next to the exit. That'll do nicely. As the actress said to the bishop. I've also really struggled with things like the steering, because I really do love the keyboard to steer. I certainly don't want to be... I do have brand new steering wheels and pedals here that I could put in, but I absolutely love steering with the keyboard, which I know is a bit alien. I get it, but again, to try and get everything right, oh thank you Eagle, is a tribulation, because I do watch an awful lot of other YouTubers and Twitch streamers content and quality, and I'm always shocked at how bad a lot of it is. You know, there's not many people try and play the game with full immersion. And again, an awful lot of people don't really seem to give a shiny one about the quality of the lobbing up onto the YouTube or onto the Twitch. You know, quite a lot do, but a lot don't as well. Okay, let's let him have a sleep. I'm going to roll a quick diggy. Thank you, Eagle. That's very kind. So I guess for when I retire, this will be my perfect pastime. And as I say, the plan is that once we run out of drivable content on ATS, well, we've got the magic that is ETS 2 to load up. Plus, we've also got external ATS map mods that we could do as well. So what I'm badly trying to say is I think the content for this game and for ETS 2 is virtually unlimited. And if you like, that's kind of why I've really jumped on this game as my game. It's just perfect for me. I absolutely love it to bits, I really do. And as I say, the hardest thing for me as a keyboard player was trying to get some level of immersion and realism into the game on a reliable, regular basis, because the way I used to play it, it just didn't feel real at all. You know, a truck just doesn't take off to 50, 60, 70 mile an hour, even if it's got 90,000 pounds on the back. Just don't happen. But I think both games are just getting better and better. So I know we're absolutely good to go with this profile right the way up to 149. It's tested on 148 beta. So unless they make some drastic changes to 148, we should be good to go for a seamless upgrade to 148. So yeah, I'm pretty excited actually. I really, really am. I think, you know, the hard effort that we've put in and all the rest of it, and I've put a lot of behind the scenes hours in, a lot of stuff you guys and girls have not seen. It's all been so worth it, because I've just ended up with my personal copy of American Truck exactly how I always wanted it. And of course I'm here to help, so if anybody else needs any help with the mods or with settings or whatever, well, I'm more than happy to give you the benefit of my experience, in the vain hope it might be useful in some minute way, fingers crossed. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. No. Oh my god, really? Every hot damn time. But hey, you know, we wanted immersion in real life, so suck it up, Ebes. Suck it right up. So, here we go, my beloved way stations. £124,000. They are, wake up your lazy arses. But for me on a 1050 Ti, that is stunning. It's the best I've ever had it, for sure. Stunning. Oh, bless you, Robbie. Yeah, you can run convoys, but I don't think convoys are that appealing, to be honest. I think it's okay if you're running a VTC, but I think just for the ordinary casual player, I actually don't think they're that appealing. You have, of course, also got Truckers MP as well. If you fancy getting a lot of displeasure out of the game. Look, just my opinion. You guys and girls do what you want, you play it how you want, it's your business. But I got to tell you, this for me personally is about as good as I've ever had it, and I'm just absolutely addicted to it. It's just fantastic. Even the level of physics and the way the cab bounces without being silly. You know, again, I've watched an awful lot of real life truckers videos to see how the cabs move about and bounce, and yes they do, and the driver tends not to see or feel it. I also really struggled with the views as well, but anyway, I'll be right back, 2 secs. So there you go. All we've got to do now is concentrate on doing the live streams and just enjoying the trucking when we're not live streaming. Yeah, absolutely, you can make a server. Yeah, it is, Zeb. You can do convoying, but as I say, I've got to be honest, it's not really that sort of appealing. You know, if I wanted to create this as a convoy version, well, you know, there's all sorts of issues. A lot of mods are not compatible with convoy. A lot of the aftermarket accessories are not compatible with convoys. You know, you'd all have to have exactly the same mods in exactly the same load order as I've got in order to join. You got to be on exactly the same version. It's a bit of a shit stick, really, to be honest. It's alright if you just want to play a blank vanilla, but how realistic is that? Just saying. How much immersion and enjoyment is there in that for you, as opposed to your beautiful modded personal copy of the world? I don't know. It's horses for courses, I suppose. It's what you want to do, but for me personally, I'm happy just driving the pants out of my own personal copy of American Truck and sharing it with you guys and girls in a live stream. I could certainly share it as well on the Discord, although Discord's a shit platform for streaming, but quite happy to do that as well. But if ever you're wondering where EB is these days, I'll either be at work, I'll be in bed asleep, or I'll be trucking. So hopefully that answers a few questions. As I say, I'm very, very happy to help people in any way I can if they need help. I'm not by any means an expert. And I'm only an expert in my little personal copy of the world, but as I say, you can help anybody, you've only got to ask. And it's a pleasure. Yeah, I'll leave the barriers on. They're fine, they don't bother me, they never have. I know they drive some people insane, but they really don't bother me. Don't bother me in the least. As I say, the only thing I've got to start filtering is rain. But again, to get rain right for me is a real challenge. You either get too much or not enough. At the minute I've got it, I haven't got it disabled, so we'll put that up a little bit. I have got random road events are zeroed, and we have got some detours on. The only thing about this is because I've already had a go on the 1.48 beta, and that's got all the figures at the side. I do miss that. That is a nice little extra, but again, rain is really going to affect your frame rates. And as I say, we've got the Cass's brutal weather, so we not only do we get rain, we get fog, mist and all sorts of shenanigans. But hopefully if I've done my job right and we've got a really good balance, then a bit of rain shouldn't affect anything, and it should add to the atmosphere, if nothing else. The other thing I've been surprised at through all of this is the way we've developed it from a stuttery mess to just gorgeousness, all on a little 1050 Ti. Now, because I have upgraded the power supply and the cost of living crisis PC, we could add any graphics card of a choice. I do have both a 6-pin and an 8-pin power connector off the 1200 watt or so. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll stick a 3060 Ti in it or something, I don't know. We'll see. But for now, the little 1050, absolutely amazing at 720p. If we do go to a 3060 Ti, which is what I'm thinking and toying with getting and treating myself, then of course we can up it straight away to 1080p, because that card should be more than good enough for 1080p. I know the CPU can handle 1080p, but that's for the future. For now, I just want to get some serious hourage in on this profile and just enjoy the pants out of it, quite frankly. I'm just loving it to death, absolutely loving it. Now, I know this won't be everybody's desired play style. I know some of you will find it like watching wet paint dry, but as I say, for me personally, the immersion and the realism is the whole point of it for me. It really, really is. I just love it. You might want to go from A to B at 300 mile an hour with your arse on fire. That's absolutely fine. Knock yourselves out. But for me personally, well, if a perfect ATS existed, this literally would be it as far as I'm concerned. I just think it's fantastic. It's so immersive, so enjoyable, so relaxing. It's just everything I want in a game. It really is. Absolutely everything I want in a game. It's perfect. But as I say, that is me, that's not you, so you need to change things around, swap them up, tweak them, and make them for how you want them. But hopefully I'll prove that the keyboard can quite happily compete with the steering wheel and pedals. I know you get a much deeper level of immersion, but I just feel like a 5-year-old in the back of a car playing with a plastic wheel. It just seems wrong to me. It's just weird. I can't help it. It's just the way I am. So I think I'll always be a keyboard driver. But as I say, getting that keyboard balance right is very difficult. Especially if you've got a clicky keyboard. That's a real kick in the shitter. Because all you hear is click, 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 and it does your head in. So I tend to use a keyboard that's not got clicky keys. And hopefully that way the steering's a little bit more immersive. So let's just see what our progress is. Just pottering, taking our time. So we started off in Bakersfield, down to Barstow, along to Ehrenberg. We're currently on our way to Tucson. We bypassed Phoenix, although we got credited with it. So we've got to hit Tucson, Sierra Vista, San Simon, down to El Paso, Van Horn, Fort Stockton, Junction, and then to around San Antonio and out towards the back. We're actually probably nearer Victoria than bloody San Antonio, but anyway, absolutely loving it, just loving it. And hopefully you guys and girls will join me for a lot of the journeys. I will also do some of the shorter journeys as videos as well, so there's always plenty of trucking, fresh trucking content on the channel. It is all free, 100% free forever, so there's no need to donate. The only thing you could do is subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Give the videos a thumbs up when you get time, but even that's not really necessary because it's all free. And then hopefully the day that I nuff it and leave this world, well, at least I'll leave behind a little helping hand for others who may want to enjoy American truck or Euro trucks as much as I did. I just find it so relaxing pottering around the US. I really, really do. Let me just check the chat, make sure I've not missed anything. Yeah, absolutely, Zeb. I think it's, you know, it's just how you evolve, isn't it? I mean, me and you had so much fun with the rocket engines, and you know, Nabis made some wonderful mods for us, and we couldn't have done it without Nab. But I think, probably like you, Zeb, I mean, you've moved on, you love your World of Warships, and that's great. I just love it that you love it. But for me, as you know, Zeb, for years I've groped around trying to find my thing. You were lucky, you found your thing really quick. You know, and I've never really found my thing since the original Guild Wars. So I think I was probably as addicted to the original Guild Wars. That was just my thing. And then when the trucking came along, well, I kind of fell in love with it, but I'm such a scatterbrain. I can't stick with this, can't stick with that, bit of this, bit of that. And that's really not the way. And to be fair, you and plenty of other people on the YouTube have been throwing that at me for years. You know, do you listen? Nah, because you do your own thing, don't you? But now I'm kind of settled where I don't really give a shit about other games anymore, to be honest. I get in front of the PC and all I'm interested in is me trucking, and I just love it to bits. Now, as I say, I know the trucking isn't for everybody the way I play it. My setup is not going to be for everybody. But hey, my YouTube is free. It's really just hopefully a library of live streams and videos that, you know, when you're gone, the people can continue to enjoy. I'm not trying to make a living or make any money out of it, not interested, so it really doesn't matter. It's just my passion, my hobby, and I think that's lovely. If you like, this is the previous generation's greenhouse. This little office with the computers in it, my trucking. God damn, I'm so lucky and so happy. I really am. And grateful as well to have had a wonderful community behind me for years, despite all the turbulence and all the rest of it. Well, that's real life, not the end of the world. And people are still coming on to this YouTube and asking me if I'm Linux Help Guy or Puppy Linux World. It's really quite sweet, actually. But it just goes to show how long I've been on YouTube in one form or another. So I'm hoping this will be my final iteration. I'm hoping you'll get a lot of trucking content with some other video content series, which I'm enjoying playing off screen, which is nice, or off stream. I just really want to enjoy the trucking, to be honest. Just bear with me a second. You need a break from WoWs, lol. No one new to div up with. Now COVID is gone. Yeah, and I think that's a really big issue, Zeb, and a great issue that you brought up. Because I think to find a game that you're happy playing alone and then sharing with the world is really bloody difficult. Because what you never had, you never missed. But once you've had it, once you've played with a group of people and had great fun, it can be... the game almost becomes a different game when you have to play it solo. And I think that's one of the reasons I gravitated so much to the trucking. I love them both. I mean, I love the farming as well. But again, these are simulation games, not for everybody. You with your World of Warships, well, you know, if you just don't have as much fun when you log in solo and it's just not the same. I've had that experience so many times with so many games. You know, and you can keep buying the next new thing, the new craze that's going to be amazing. And for me personally, it's always just a butt ton of fail. It's just more of the same with a different skin on. And this is why I've just settled on the trucking. I'm going to be resolute, focused, firm. I'm going to enjoy the pants out my American truck. I'm going to work my arse off on my Euro truck as my backup. And I'm going to keep making the Fallout 3 and the Warframe videos for people to enjoy. And you know, whether my videos get 1 view or 1 million views, I don't really give a shit, to be honest. It really doesn't matter in the scheme of things. All that matters is that when people stumble across them and watch them, they get some pleasure. And I'm just hoping that one day somebody goes, bloody hell, you're doing all that on a little 1050 Ti, because then it's all worth it. And I'm hoping that will happen one day. And it just goes to show how little you need, Zeb, to get a lot of pleasure and make content that's, you know, nicely watchable for your audience. You really do need very little indeed. Tucson, Arizona. Goers. It's amazing, you know, the difference that a point in the traffic settings can make. So on the traffic, I've currently got 0.009 for the traffic. Change that to 0.10. Wow, it really does make a huge difference to the amount of traffic. All of a sudden you start to get flooded with it. Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm chatting shit as usual. Maybe it was 0.1, not 0.10. As I say, it is nice to have a bit of traffic, but you really don't want a lot of traffic dragging your frame rates down, causing stuttering and micro freezes and all the rest of it. You want a bit of traffic, and that's it. So I've ducked it 0.1, look. and you're seeing a little bit more traffic than what you did do. Maybe I'll leave it at 0.10, but we'll have to see if it affects the quality. Well, the thing is, Zeb, I don't know what to tell you. You need a break from WoW, which is healthy, that's fine, but what on earth are you going to go to? And this is the problem. I mean, you know as well as I do, I absolutely love World of Tanks, but I just can't play it. Because it's such a shit fest of a game with a shit developer. SCS is the exact reverse, Trucking's the reverse. Awesome developers, they're on the money. You know, the game's updated with frightening regularity. Just bloody perfect. So that's pretty much why I've ditched everything else, because there's just nothing else. There is nothing else. But that's me personally. You might be different. You might have a different itch you need to scratch. Just installing Windows 11 on a separate hard disk. We'll try and mimic your build and see how it goes. Yeah, try it, Zeb. But like I say, don't forget to make it your own. Change things around. Use what you want to use. You know, change the settings, play with them. And I think you'll find it's a little bit like the Linux days. You'll get a lot of pleasure once you start learning what the different commands are and how the changes affect you. And you really will end up with your perfect copy of both ATS and ETS2, because all the commands are interchangeable between both games. So as I say, for me, my next project is to get ETS2 as good as ATS, so that we can switch between them for content completion. And that's a lot of pleasure and a lot of game time, a lot of driving hours. It's just awesome. Perfect for me. As you can see, we've now got a little bit more traffic. Not a lot, a little bit. But I don't want more traffic at the expense of how well the game is running. So it's just a fine balance all the while. You know, for you, Zeb, with your hardware, well, it shouldn't really matter. You should be able to run what the hell you like. But as I say, down at the shit end of the stick, little tweaks matter. They do make a difference. And it is quite immersive and quite fun to do. It makes a change from forever installing Linux distros and tweaking them, just to find that it's a pile of crap at the end of the day and you wasted all your time. At least doing it this way, well, you're ending up with something that's going to give you thousands of hours of gaming pleasure, if it's your thing. If it's your thing. Certainly my thing, that's for sure. What we got? Still nearly 8 hours till we need to sleep, although that will go by pretty darn quick, I'm guessing. See how you all go. I'm going to leave the Creech Bum and the JC's Amateur Sound packs underneath. I will add the ZEEMODS to it, what I'm using now, but the ZEEMODS is a paid mod, whereas the other two are free, so people have got the choice then. But I have to say, it's been delightful, if it's your thing. Absolutely delightful. Go again, a little bit more traffic, not a lot, just a bit. Let me try that at 0.2. And this is really what all the hours off screen are spent doing, just making changes, trying stuff until you get it just right. Cops. very difficult to get the perfect setting for your hardware. When you're at the lower end, when you're at the upper end, it don't really matter. It's fine. You can bang in what you like, and it's tickety-boo. That looks fucking gorgeous on my screen. It really does. And the other thing about this military trailer pack, it's not a Jazzy Cat, although I think they nicked a few of the Jazzy Cat models for it. It's really well and nicely done. And as I say, I do want a bit of traffic, but I don't want it flooded. A bit of traffic now and again, well, that'll do me. I also notice that the random road events really do smack your frame rate as well, which is, I find, a bit bizarre, a bit strange. I can only assume they're not very well optimised. But again, if you're on really good, powerful hardware, then that shouldn't be an issue for you. It's another element that you could add in that I've not. So your options are almost unlimited. You can just literally make it your own little personal bit of pleasure and treasure. And I just think both of these games are perfect for that. And obviously we're now at the beginning of it all. It'd be interesting to see what progress I've made in a year's time. Hopefully I'll still be here and still be trucking, that's the plan, well into retirement. No itching now, the cream. Well, I'm glad you actually got off your arse and got some cream, Zeb, that's the first. I'm done with that too. I'm going to try and stick with Nabara for 6 months and report on the Linux Saloon. Show how it goes. That's a great idea, Zeb. Great idea if you can stick to it. The only problem with, you know, I mean, look, I've got to be careful what I say here, but I still think you suffer from the same kid in the sweet shop syndrome as I've always suffered with, as you know. The only time in my whole Linux life I ever genuinely stuck with a distro was Peppermint. Other than that, you know, it's this today, something else tomorrow, fucking around. And the disappointment for me as a Linux enthusiast is the result is always the same. With Linux, there's always something you're going to have to compromise on, no matter what it is you're doing on it. You know, and I think my youngest son brought it home to me when he said, "Dad, you know, people use Visual Studio Code in the Windows platform for a reason. People use Xamarin and the Mac platform for a reason. Yes, you can use Linux, yes, you can use Unix. Why would you?" And that's a great shout. Why would you? When, you know, you've literally got the lot at your fingertips on Windows. Now, we all know Windows is a shit fest, this, that and the other, but what isn't? What isn't a shit fest today? Christ. So I just kind of got over that whole Linux thing. And it did take an awful long while, because I've always loved my Linux. But I just think, why settle for a burger when you can have a steak? And use the right tool for the job is just the best advice anybody can ever give you. For me, you know, Linux has moved on. It's become so much more usable and accessible than when I started back in the early Red Hat days. And the Slack Linux with the old fresh meat repos and all the rest of it. It's moved on. It's unrecognisable today from what it was then, but it's still suffering from the same basic flaws as it did 15 years ago. Yes, you've got super lightweight, beautiful plasma interfaces now, blah 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 blah, But at the end of the day, if you're running Linux, you're going to have to lower your expectations and make a compromise. And I just think, do you know what, it's really, in real terms, it's just not moved forward. It has moved forward, but it's not. You know, and you'll always find people, oh, I can do this, I've been on Arch for 10 years. Yeah, great, knock yourself out. Fill your boots. But they'll never tell you what compromises they have to make. And they do have to make them the same as everybody else. Just frustrating. Sorry, just a sec. Same as me, Linux 4 died when Mike... Yeah, absolutely, Zeb. I couldn't agree with you more. And I don't think the majority of Linux users realise or grasp just how special Mark was. And he really was a wonderful man. Incredible talent. Just understood things. Understood not only the basics but the mechanics as well. Wonderfully gifted man. And that kind of ended it for me. You know, and I've tried to go to other distros. They're just not Mark's pep. They're just not. So I think, fuck it. I'll just use the Winblows. Good enough. It's not pep. It's not got Mark's magic. Tough. Suck it up. It's kind of Mark's death is a bit of a bittersweet pill for me, Zeb, because you know, on the one hand, I'm really, really grateful through you predominantly to have known him and enjoyed his work and the wonderful gifts that he gave everybody. The reverse side of the coin, I'm a little bit bitter actually, because when something's that good, you just never want it to end, do you? So it's a bit bittersweet for me, and don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at Mark. He couldn't help his state of his health or anything else. None of us can. I just feel a bit cheated that Mark was took that quick when he got so much more to enjoy and offer. Especially to arseholes like me, that's for sure. But hey, isn't that just real life? It's a bastard sometimes, isn't it? Absolute bastard. But hey, it's what it is. At least we can talk about him now and remember him with fondness, with love, with kindness, with joy, which is nice. And I'm sure that's what he'd want. But for me, personally, I can't ever see... And believe you me, Zeb, I've tried. If you're still there, I've fucking tried. I just can't ever see me finding the next Peppermint, just the same as I could never find the next Guild Wars. And I tried. And 2012 I stopped playing Guild Wars. It's now 2023. I've still never found anything as good as it. And unfortunately, as cruel as it is, I can't go backwards. I can't live in the past, so I've had to move on from Linux back onto Windows. I've had to move on from Guild Wars onto trucking. Am I any less happier for doing it? Nah, loving it to bits. For me personally, of course, and I think you've just got to find that little balance for yourself where, you know, you're on a little island that you're happy to say, well, you know what, it's not as good as what I had, but I've moved on, it's alright, it's okay, let's do it, and you'll be fine. However, finding that ain't fucking easy. It really isn't. And it's a joke that the current Peppermint team think they are following his... Oh, they're fucking... Oh, God, Zeb, I can't even go there, mate, because... if they think any of them think they're at Mark's level, they're fucking continents away. They're not even in the same fucking sphere, trust me. Just not happening. It's just delusional crap. It's just is. But of course you can't say all this shit, because if you do, you know, this community's up in arms, that community says you're a hateful wanker, this community says you're a troll. I just can't be arsed with it anymore. I've got too many years, like you Zeb, I've got too many years experience in it. I can't suffer the dickwads anymore. So it's easier for me to just migrate onto Windows and put my efforts and my time into trucking, which is what I love now, and I do love it. So that's what I'm happiest with. Of course, if anybody ever wants any help with Linux, I'm more than happy to help them. But again, you look at the Linux community, has it really moved on? People have come and gone. Is the Linux community evolved any? Nah, is it fuck? It's either full of haters or full of incredibly talented, gifted people. But you never seem to get that nice blend of nice, talented people with broad open mind. You know, it's always, oh, Windows is shit, Linux is this, Linux. Oh, I can't stomach it anymore. I've had that crap for too many fucking years. So I think, well, if people want to use Linux, that's fine, knock yourselves out, fill your boots. I'll have my wind blows all day long. Hope you've not got any parking space, mate, because I'll be a bit pissed. Just saying, I need to get the old Uncle Ned down here. Give me an E anytime game, there we go. Okay, we'll have a short kip. Yeah, no, Zeb, I know, Modder, I know, and it's good for you to talk about it as well, Zeb. It's good for the mind. I know they haven't got a fucking Scooby. They really haven't. I haven't got a Scooby. But all I know is if you say something, that's good enough for me. Because you actually, you know, knew Mark really well and knew his direction, knew what he wanted. All these other fucking arseholes that are putting the 2 cents in, I can't even listen. It ain't worth me listening to them. Oh, really? Really, you dick? I can't even be bothered with it, Zeb. It's just, it's not even worth trying to educate people. Because you may as well just take your knob out and piss up a wall. My prediction, the current version of Peppermint ain't going to be around for long. It'll chop, change, they'll do this, they'll do that, and then all of a sudden it'll disappear one day. It's all just a load of crap, it really is. And I'm tired of telling people it, but like I say, you may as well get your knob out and piss up a wall, because you'll have more joy. At least you'll get to empty your bladder. You know, and you try your best to help people and you just waste your time. But at the end of the day, Zeb, you knew which way Mark wanted to go. You've seen the absolute magic that Mark was. You experienced it, you enjoyed it, I certainly did. It was fantastic. And to be honest, I think if Mark number 2 come along, it still wouldn't be the same. It's just not, mate. It was just magic. Fucking magic. Hey-ho, what are you gonna do? So I'll always remember Mark with fondness, with kindness, with love and with gratitude. But what have I got left? I've got the trucking. Fuck Linux, fuck everything else, not interested. I've done my years, fuck it. Same as you have, Zeb. So now I'm gonna do what people have always told me to do. I'm going to please me fucking self and enjoy the pants out of it. And if people want to come along, that's fantastic. People want to enjoy, you're very welcome. And if people don't, well, please fuck off and do something that you enjoy. Simple as that. We're 99.9% close to becoming an official Ubuntu spin, but we pulled away as it meant too much extra work that Mark could not do on his own. Dolphin Oracle on MX is the closest I found. Yeah, Dolphin's amazing. Dolphin always has been, Seb. But then again, the original Mepis team, which was my distribution after Red Hat, was magical. Not just because the distro was of a similar ilk to what Mark did, but because of the people behind it were just so talented and approachable. But I think MX has got to a stage now where you lose that that personal bit, and you can't help it when something grows to a specific size. It just becomes impossible to have a one-man distro experience with a team, you know, and MX is so much more than MX Linux. But Dolphin's always been a top man. I'd have no problems whatsoever taking him and his wife for a meal, and it would be a wonderful, fantastic time. There ain't too many people in the Linux community you could say that about, just saying. He's a wonderful guy. I've always liked Dolphin. But even MX, you know, as good as MX is, and it is awesome, you know, you're still down to the old compromise situation because it's Linux at the end of the day. I mean, I think some of the best quality videos I ever did on the trucking on lesser hardware than what I'm running now was on Peppermint. It was just fantastic. And again, I don't think I've ever found a distro that comes fucking close to it. But hey ho, what are you going to do? It's nice to chat about it. Hope you're okay, Zeb, chatting about it, if you're not, just say. But again, I think it's good for your mental health to chat now and again. And it is good to reminisce as well. We all had some great times in the COVID lockdown. We had a great crew, but again, things evolve, people go their own way, do their own things. You just got to evolve yourself, really, and find your passion and pleasure and fill your fucking boots. Because trying to, you know, please other people, well, you'll do that all your life and you'll end up pleasing fucking no one. So you may as well just please yourself. That's what I've found out in life. You know, you do your utmost for people, and you still end up in the shit pit. You know, this ain't right, that ain't right, they don't like this, they don't like that, they think you're okay, but it'd be better if you did. Oh, fuck off. So just please yourself, Seb. Find your own bit of happiness and peace and just fill your boots. You'll always be welcome here, bud, you know that. This will always be a little cheeky safe haven for you, if ever you need it, but I've just got to the stage where I can't fucking do this bollocks anymore. I'm running out of years on the planet, real years, so I'm going to be a little bit selfish and please myself, and, you know, if it means me disappearing into American truck and Euro truck, then fucking so be it. At least I'm getting some pleasure out of it, which is, at the end of the day, really all that matters. What have I got? I thought there was an alarm going off. It's not, it's a train. Yeah, that's very true, Zeb. That is very, very true. Never a more true word spoken. But you also have to find the inner strength, as difficult as it is, Zeb, to move on. And it is difficult. You know how I've struggled with it. You've watched me struggle with it on YouTube. You know, this and that, and jumping from here to that. And what you're doing? You're just fucking groping around in the dark, trying to get back what you had. You can't. It's gone. Move on. Find the next thing that floats your boat and enjoy the pants out of it. Because otherwise, you'll just be in a limbo forever. You know, I thought it was Guild Wars 2, I thought it was Warframe, I thought it was this, that and the fucking other, and it ain't. me now, I'm just happy driving a truck, a pretend truck. It just fits me so well. And yeah, it's not New World, and it's not this, and it's not fucking that. So what? Excuse me. Other people do that shit and enjoy it. Not for me. Just the same as this is probably not for other people. But for me personally, I can't get enough. I love it. And the other beauty of this is it doesn't matter whether I've got 20 minutes or whether I've got 5 hours free. I can jump in, have a bit of enjoyment, and at least with this game I come off this game thinking, do you know what, I really enjoyed that, I can't wait for the next one. Come off World of Tanks, I want to fucking behead somebody. Not good, just saying, not good. I think that says it all really. Yeah, you fill your boots, Zeb. I think you'll find it very rewarding because you're not the sort of person who's happy to lob ATS on and leave it. You will get under the hood, you will make it your own, and I think that's fantastic. I really do. You know, and if you want to make it into Caravan Conquers or whatever you want, you'll do it, and I think that's wonderful. I love that about people, and this is why I've done my absolute utmost to make American Truck Simulator my own copy of the world, if you like. Because I just love it when people, you know, go under the skin with a purpose to make it their own. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, I hope it works out for you. As I say, I'll feverishly. Yeah, you see, now that's too much straight away. Or is it? I'm sure you'll let me know on the streams if that's too much traffic. Very difficult to get the traffic balance. Really is one of them anomalies. So I quite enjoy the feeling of vastness and loneliness that is the United States and Canada. It's huge, you know. You can go for miles and never see a freaking soul. And I enjoy that. A lot of people don't, but I do. I love it. Because I think the US is so explorable and so vast. Yeah, you see, so now I've just started to notice just micro stuttering. Let's try it on 3. And I know you'll love all this shit, Zeb. You really will. You'll enjoy the pants out of it. And then when you've got your own perfect little setup, well, share it with the world. Do a bit of streaming, do some videos, do what floats your boat. And if people like it, great, fill your boots. And if they don't like it, well, they can fuck off. Easy, isn't it? Not rocket science. Fucking hell. Yeah, now you see this is getting way too much traffic, so I'm going to put that back down to 0.2. 0.2 is fine. It was just enough. I don't want tons and tons of fucking traffic, just a bit of traffic now and again, but that's just me. Right, it's going mad, so that's not going to make any difference then, is it? That might make a difference. There we go, that's better. So there you go, after all that, back where we started. Although I think the 0.2 will be fine. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, everybody. Hey up, Sudsy. Nice to see you. Hope you and the family are safe and well. I do apologise. I'm going to end the live stream here. We'll continue this journey in the next live stream. Thanks for everybody's company. Thanks for chatting, Zeb. It's been lovely. Look after yourself. Stay safe and well. And I'll see you all in the next one. Much love, everybody. Cheers.